Peppa's Chinese New Year. Peppa and George are at playgroup. Good morning, children, says Madame Gazelle. Today is a lucky day. Is it my birthday? asked Danny Dog. No, giggles Madame Gazelle. It's Chinese New Year. The children are excited. Before we celebrate Chinese New Year, we must sweep up, Madame Gazelle says. That is because we sweep out the old year before we welcome in the new year. Peppa and her friends love sweeping. Miss Rabbit brings in lots of paper lanterns. She is going to be a helper today. Chinese New Year is all about family and good fortune, says Madame Gazelle. Let's celebrate together. Everybody cheers. Hooray! Next, Peppa and her friends make Chinese New Year cards. Why are all the cards red? Wonders Peppa. In China, red is a very lucky color, replies Madame Gazelle. My dress is red, squeals Peppa. That makes you extra lucky, says Madame Gazelle. Peppa promises to share her extra luck with Susie Sheep. Miss Rabbit brings out a tray of food. It has candy, tangerines, and cookies. Is anyone feeling hungry? Miss Rabbit asks. We are, shouts Pedro. I like Chinese New Year, says Danny, picking up 2 candies. Later, everyone gets dressed in red clothes, just like Peppa. Then Madame Gazelle shows them pictures of China. This house is called a pagoda, she says. Repeat after me. Pagoda, laughs George. To celebrate the new year, we will have a dragon dance, Madame Gazelle tells the children. Peppa is excited, but she's also confused. Where is the dragon? Peppa asks. We are going to make it, says Madame Gazelle. Peppa and her friends get to work. They use cardboard, paint, ribbon, and their imagination to make the dragon. Who wants to carry the dragon? Asked Madame Gazelle. Peppa, Pandora, Peggy, Richard and George do. Roar! Peppa says, pretending to be a dragon. Roar! Say Pandora, Peggy and Richard. Next, Mr. Bull sets up the fireworks. The fireworks will light up the sky during the children's dragon dance. That gives Madame Gazelle an idea. Mr. Bull, would you like to lead the dance as a lion? She asks. It would be an honour, replies Mr. Bull. With everything ready to go, Mr. Bull leads the children outside for the dragon dance. Peppa is so excited, she can hardly wait. The children perform the dragon dance, while the fireworks light up the sky. It truly is a sight to behold. And there's another sight too. The parents have come to see the show. Happy Chinese New Year, say the parents. The children smile. Happy Chinese New Year, they reply. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's countdown to bedtime. Granny and Grandpa Pig were visiting Peppa and George's house. They'd had lots of fun together, but it was getting late. Come on, little ones, said Daddy Pig. Let's get you ready for bed. Can we play countdown to bedtime game with Granny and Grandpa? Asked Peppa. Please. That's a lovely idea, Peppa, said Mummy Pig. Why don't you tell Granny and Grandpa Pig how to play it? First you count 10 things, then 9 things, then 8 things, all the way down to 1 thing, before you go to bed, explained Peppa. That sounds like a game we used to play with your mummy when she was your age, said Granny Pig. Who's going to start counting down? Said Grandpa Pig. Me, said Peppa excitedly. I know. First let's jump in 10 muddy puddles. Peppa and George raced outside, closely followed by Grandpa Pig. They found 10 very muddy puddles, perfect for jumping in. Peppa, George and Grandpa Pig jumped in 10 very muddy puddles. Everyone was laughing and covered in mud. That's 10 muddy puddles jumped in, said Peppa. What's next? It's starting to get dark, whispered Grandpa Pig. Before we go inside, shall we use my torch to see if we can spot 9 nighttime creatures? Wow! Oh, yes, Peppa whispered back. Peppa, George and Grandpa Pig tiptoed around the garden, looking for nighttime creatures. Suddenly, George spotted lots of little hedgehogs scattering across the grass. Hedgy hog, he cried, pointing. Peppa, George and Grandpa Pig counted 9 cute hedgehogs. Great nighttime detective work, said Grandpa Pig. That's 9 nighttime creatures spotted, said Peppa. What's next? George shone the torch up in the sky. Tweet, tweet, he said. Look, George has found 8 little birds flying to their nest, said Peppa. Night, night, little birds. Well done, George, said Grandpa Pig. Peppa and George waved goodnight to 8 little birds flying to their nest. That's 8 little birds waved to, said Peppa. What's next? I think it's time you flew home too, said Mummy Pig, coming outside. Peppa, George and Grandpa Pig pretended to be birds flying back home. In the living room, Granny Pig said, I've seen toy monkeys that need tidied away. Peppa and George picked up 7 toy monkeys and put them in the basket. Good night, monkeys, said Peppa. That's 7 toy monkeys tidied away, said Peppa. What's next? Peppa, George, called Daddy Pig. Everyone rushed to the kitchen to find Daddy Pig with 6 glasses of warm milk. "Here are 6 bedtime drinks," said Daddy Pig. "Yummy, thank you, Daddy," said Peppa, lifting her head up to show everyone her milk moustache. "You're welcome, Peppa," said Daddy Pig. "That's 6 glasses of a yummy bedtime drink drunk," said Peppa. "What's next? Shall we get you all cleaned up?" Granny Pig asked Peppa and George. "Bath time!" cheered Peppa. "Hooray!" In the bathroom, Granny Pig spotted 5 rubber ducks in need of a wash. Peppa and George had lots of fun bathing with 5 rubber ducks. And splashing Granny and Grandpa Pig too. "It's time for the ducks to go to bed now," said Granny Pig. "Night-night, 5 little duckies," said Peppa. "That's 5 rubber ducks, nice and clean," said Peppa. "What's next?" Mummy and Daddy Pig came to help Peppa and George get into their pyjamas and brush their teeth. "Oh no!" gasped Peppa. "What's wrong?" asked Daddy Pig. "We need something for number 4, said Peppa. "But George and I have only 2 toothbrushes." "Don't worry," said Mummy Pig. "Daddy and I will brush our teeth too. Then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, finished Peppa. "Brush, brush, brush, brush." After they were finished, Peppa said, "That's 4 brushy toothbrushes brushed with. What's next?" Grandpa Pig went to close the curtains in Peppa and George's bedroom. When they looked out of the window, Peppa and George counted 3 stars shining in the night sky. "Look, George," cried Peppa. 3 twinkling stars. Let's pretend we're in a rocket exploring outer space." "That's 3 twinkling stars counted," said Peppa. "What's next?" Grandpa Pig helped George into bed. "Peppa, you tuck in Teddy. George, you tuck in Mr. Dinosaur. Then that's 2 favourite toys ready to sleep." "That's 2 favourite toys all tucked in," said Peppa. "What's next?" "Ah," said Granny Pig, "we have a very special number 1 for you." "We do?" said Grandpa Pig. Then he thought for a moment. "Oh, yes, of course," he said. "We have 1 very special bedtime story for you both." "Hooray!" cheered Peppa and George. They loved bedtime stories. Peppa and George were all cuddled up and cosy in bed when Granny Pig started their 1 very special bedtime story.
Wow!
"Once upon a time," began Granny Pig very quietly and very slowly, "there were 2 little piggies who jumped in 10 muddy puddles, spotted 9 nighttime creatures, waved to 8 little birds, tidied 7 toy monkeys, shared 6 bedtime drinks, bathed with 5 rubber ducks, found 4 brushy toothbrushes, counted 3 twinkling stars, tucked in 2 favourite toys." As Peppa and George closed their eyes, Granny Pig whispered, "And listened to 1 very special bedtime story. Night-night, little ones." Peppa and George were so tired from playing the countdown to bedtime game, they had fallen asleep. Mummy and Daddy Pig came in to say goodnight. "Ah," said Mummy Pig, seeing Peppa and George fast asleep, "you can always count on the countdown to bedtime game." "You can indeed," said Granny Pig, looking over at Grandpa Pig, who had fallen asleep too. Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, and Granny Pig all laughed. Peppa and George love counting down to bedtime. Everyone loves counting down to bedtime. The end. Peppa Pig, recycling fun. Mr. Bull, the bin man, is collecting the rubbish. It is early in the morning, so he tries to be as quiet as he can. Crash, smash, smash! But Mr. Bull is not very good at being quiet. "Hello, Mr. Bull," snorts Daddy Pig, Peppa and George. "Hello, everyone," says Mr. Bull. Peppa and George are helping to clear up the breakfast things. "We don't put bottles in the rubbish bin, they can be recycled," says Mummy Pig. Soon they have collected enough things, so Peppa and her family set off for the recycle centre. Mummy Pig has the bottles and Peppa has the tin cans. George has the newspapers. "Is everybody ready?" asked Daddy Pig. "Yes," shout Peppa and George. Clink, clink, rattle, rattle, rustle, rustle. Soon they arrive at Miss Rabbit's recycle centre. Miss Rabbit is sitting up high, up inside a big crane. She is busy recycling all the rusty old cars. It is very noisy. "Who knows which bin the bottles go in?" asks Mummy Pig. "The green one," says Peppa. "That's right," snorts Daddy Pig. Clink, clink. "And the cans go in the blue one," says Peppa. "Well done, Peppa," says Mummy Pig. Rattle, rattle. Daddy Pig lifts George up so he can empty the newspapers into the red bin. Rustle, rustle. "Where's our car gone?" asks Daddy Pig. "Stand back," shouts Miss Rabbit from up above them. Miss Rabbit is about to recycle Peppa's car. "Stop!" shouts Peppa. "Our car isn't old and rusty." "Ha ha, silly me," says Miss Rabbit. "I just love recycling." "So do we," laughs Peppa. "But we also love our little car." The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Frosty Fairy Tale. Once upon a time, it was a cold and quiet winter's day. Peppa and George were playing indoors and making lots of noise. "Peppa, George," called Mummy Pig, "why don't you look in your box of books and pick a nice story to read?" Peppa and George searched through the box and pulled out their favourite books. They giggled with excitement as they looked through the pages. Then Peppa danced all over the living room, pretending she was in a fairy tale. "Snowman!" cheered George, holding his favourite book. Peppa and George loved stories. That evening, Granny and Grandpa Pig came over to stay the night. "Hello, Granny and Grandpa," said Peppa and George. "Hello, little one," said Granny Pig, giving them both a big hug. "It's time for bed now," said Mummy Pig. "Please can Granny and Grandpa tell us a bedtime story?" asked Peppa. "Of course, Peppa," said Granny Pig. "We'd love to." Once Peppa and George were tucked up in bed, Grandpa Pig showed them a beautiful snow globe. Then he began to tell a story. "Once upon a time," he said, "there was a cold and magical place called Frosty Kingdom." "How do you get to Frosty Kingdom?" asked Peppa. "First, you have to travel over the snowy hills," said Grandpa Pig. "Then you journey through a deep, dark forest. Finally, you must climb a huge mountain until you reach the winter castle at the very top." "I bet the Sugar Plum Fairy lives there and a Snow Queen," said Peppa. "Snowman," said George. Peppa and George loved Grandpa Pig's story. "I wish we could go to Frosty Kingdom too," said Peppa, as she and George drifted off to sleep. In the morning, Peppa and George woke up to the sound of jingling bells. They peered through the window to find out where the noise was coming from. "It's snowing," gasped Peppa, "and Granny and Grandpa are outside with a big sleigh and 3 reindeers." Just then, Mummy and Daddy Pig came into the bedroom. "Granny and Grandpa are taking us all on an adventure," said Mummy Pig. "We're going to Frosty Kingdom." "Frosty Kingdom was in Grandpa's story," said Peppa. "We'll be needing these," said Mummy Pig, handing out winter coats and woolly jumpers. "We're travelling by sleigh." "Hooray!" cheered Peppa and George, jumping up and down. Everyone climbed into the sleigh, and they set off. "Which way is Frosty Kingdom?" asked Daddy Pig. Grandpa Pig pointed far into the distance. "First you have to travel over the snowy hills," he began. "Then you journey through a deep dark forest," said Peppa. "Finally, you must climb a huge mountain until you reach the winter castle at the very top." "That's right, Peppa," said Grandpa Pig. After they went over the snowy hills and through the deep dark forest, they started to climb the huge mountain. "Are we nearly there yet?" asked Peppa. Suddenly George saw something move. "Snowman!" he squealed. Everyone turned to see a snowman waving at them. "Hello!" said Peppa. "We are on our way to Frosty Kingdom." Peppa and George waved goodbye, and the reindeers pulled the sleigh further up the mountain. Up the mountain they climbed, up and up and up, until the sleigh reached a clearing and the reindeer stopped. "Are we nearly there now?" asked Peppa. "I can't see the magical winter castle." "I think we may be lost," said Grandpa Pig. "I'm sure it was this way." "Oh no," Peppa sighed. "What are we going to do?" "If only there were someone here to help," said Grandpa Pig. "Hello, Peppa and George," a voice said. "Look, it's Miss Rabbit," said Peppa. "Actually, Peppa, I'm the Sugar Plum Fairy," said Miss Rabbit. "You're on the right path. Frosty Kingdom is further up the mountain." "This is so magical," cried Peppa. The sleigh climbed higher and higher once more, and was nearly at the top of the mountain when, "Welcome to Mr. Fox's official Frosty Kingdom shop," said Mr. Fox. Everyone hopped off the sleigh to take a quick look around. Daddy Pig loaded up a basket with sponges, telephones and wool. "I'm sure these will come in handy at Frosty Kingdom," he said. Everyone piled back onto the sleigh and they set off yet again. Finally they arrived at Frosty Kingdom. "We're here," announced Grandpa Pig. Peppa saw something sparkling up ahead. As they got nearer, she gasped. "It's the Winter Castle, and there's the Snow Queen. Look, it's Miss—" "Hello, everyone," interrupted Miss Rabbit. "I'm the Snow Queen. Welcome to Frosty Kingdom." Peppa and George waved and giggled excitedly. "I wish we could stay here," said Peppa. "Peppa, this is our cabin," said Grandpa Pig. "We're going to stay here for the night." "Wow!" cried Peppa. "This is the best Frosty fairy tale adventure ever. Thank you, Granny and Grandpa." "Ho, ho, ho. You are most welcome," said Grandpa Pig, smiling. Peppa and George raced inside the cabin and looked around excitedly. "It's like we're in your story," cried Peppa. "Maybe we are," said Grandpa Pig, laughing. Peppa loved Frosty fairy tales. Everyone loved Frosty fairy tales. The end. Peppa and her family are going for a picnic in the countryside. "Hooray!" cries Peppa. "I love picnics." George loves picnics too, but he wants to stay at home and play with his toys. "Cheer up, George, we'll have a lovely day," says Daddy Pig, beeping his horn. "Beep, beep," giggles George. He likes a noisy red car. Off they drive down the hill. But what's that noise? It's Mr. Zebra's post van.
Wow!
"We're stuck in a traffic jam," says Mr. Zebra. "Oh dear," says Daddy Pig. "This isn't a good start." "Honk, honk," laughs George. At last they're on the move. But what's that noise? It's Mr. Bull's digger. "Moo! You'll have to wait," bellows Mr. Bull. "We're digging up the road." "Not another delay," cries Mummy Pig. "Dig, dig, dig," laughs George. At last, Mr. Bull has finished and off they go.
Hooray!
But what's that noise? It's a fire engine.
Wow!
"You'll have to wait while I put out the fire," shouts Mrs. Sheep. "Nah," cries George, bouncing up and down on the back seat. At last the fire is put out, and off they go.
Hooray!
But what's that noise? It's a train. Daddy Pig has to stop while the train whizzes past. "Kiki!" laughs George. "Can we go home for our picnic?" asks Peppa. "What a good idea," says Mummy Pig. But George doesn't want to go home. He's loved seeing all the noisy vehicles. "Cheer up, George," says Peppa. "You'll be able to play with all your noisy toys." And he does. The end. Peppa Pig Canal Boat. Today, Peppa and George are visiting the dog family to celebrate Captain Dog's birthday.
Hooray!
His cake has a sailing boat decoration on it.
Wow!
"Open your present," says Mummy Dog. It's a boat trip, says Captain Dog. That's just what I wanted. Captain Dog puts on his captain's hat and daydreams about their trip. You can go anywhere you want with a sailing boat, says Captain Dog. He imagines sailing to a beautiful tropical island. Then Captain Dog imagines spotting a big blue whale from his sailing boat. He can't wait for the adventure to begin.
Wow.
All aboard! Cries Captain Dog. He tries to raise the sail, but he can't see it anywhere. Canal boats do not have sails. Just push the button to make it start, says Mummy Dog. Oh, I see. Off we go, says Captain Dog. Captain Dog decides to go faster. You should slow down, says Mummy Dog. They are getting close to a mountain. Look out, shouts Peppa. We're going to crash. No, we're going into the tunnel, says Mummy Dog calmly. It is exciting inside the tunnel.
Wow.
It's gone all dark, gasped Danny. And our voices sound funny, says Peppa. This canal boat is fun after all, says Captain Dog. Soon they approach a second mountain. There must be another tunnel, says Captain Dog. Actually, we're going over it this time, says Mummy Dog. We call this a lock. Carefully, Captain Dog stops the boat. Watch, I'll show you, says Mummy Dog. She opens up the gates to the lock. And Captain Dog drives the boat in. Then Mummy Dog closes the lock gates and lets the water pour in slowly from the other side. We're going up, gasped Peppa. The boat is lifted up as the lock fills with water. Mummy Dog opens the gates and Captain Dog drives the boat out of the lock. We're in the sky, shouts Peppa. We're sailing over a bridge, says Danny.
Wow.
I've sailed through the mountains and across the sky, says Captain Dog. This is my best birthday ever. The end. Peppa Pig, Candy Cat. This is Peppa's friend, Candy Cat.
Meow.
Candy is good at skipping.
Wow.
Watch, Peppa,
Meow.
says Candy. Can you count with me? Okay, Peppa nods. 1, 2, 3.
Candy's mummy works with Daddy Pig.
Mummy's job is all about drawing shapes on a computer,
Meow.
says Candy. What a nice job, says Peppa.
Peppa and Candy have lots of fun together at playgroup,
Today we are doing ballet,
Meow.
says Candy.
Let's dance, says Peppa. Follow me.
Sometimes Peppa and Candy go to the petting farm.
Wow.
It is full of tiny little animals,
I love the chicks,
Meow.
says Candy.
I love the guinea pigs.
Says Peppa. Peppa has lots of fun with her friend Candy, even when they both want to dress up as witches. And they still have a magical time. Peppa loves Candy Cat. Everyone loves Candy Cat. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's pen pal. Peppa and her friends are at playgroup. "Who would like a pen pal?" says Madame Gazelle. "What is a pen pal?" asked Peppa. "A pen pal is someone you can write letters to," says Madame Gazelle. Everybody cheers. They would all like a pen pal. Madame Gazelle shows Peppa a picture of a little girl who lives in France.
Wow.
Her name is Delphine Donkey.
Can Delphine be my pen pal?
asked Peppa. Of course, Peppa, replies Madame Gazelle.
Hooray!
One morning, Peppa receives a letter from Delphine. It is in French.
I want to speak French to Delphine,
says Peppa. Delphine's phone number is on the letter, so Peppa calls her. Mummy Pig tells Peppa that bonjour means hello in French.
Bonjour,
says Peppa.
Bonjour, Peppa,
replies Delphine.
Bye,
says Peppa. Au revoir, whispers Mummy Pig.
Au revoir,
says Peppa. The next week, Peppa is disappointed because there is no letter from Delphine. Sorry, Peppa, says Daddy Pig. Just then, the doorbell rings. I wonder who that could be, says Mummy Pig.
Bonjour, I have come to see Peppa.
It's Delphine.
Bonjour,
squeals Peppa. Delphine introduces Peppa to her family. Bonjour, says Madame and Monsieur Donkey. Delphine has a little brother. His name is Didier.
Wow.
dinosaur,
says George.
dragon,
replies Didier.
Delphine, we could jump up and down in muddy puddles,
suggests Peppa. But Delphine does not understand Peppa. Oh no!
J'adore sauter dans le flax de boue,
says Delphine. But Peppa does not understand Delphine. Oh no!
Everything is so different in French,
says Peppa. Delphine holds Peppa's hand. Peppa runs along with her. It looks like they're running towards a big muddy puddle.
J'adore sauter dans la flaque de boue,
says Delphine again. Delphine jumps right into the muddy puddle.
That's what I was going to show you,
cries Peppa, joining in. Peppa and Delphine had been saying the same thing all along.
Wow.
We call it jumping up and down in muddy puddles,
explains Peppa.
J'adore jumping up and down in muddy puddles,
says Delphine, laughing. Everyone loves jumping up and down in muddy puddles. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa learns French. The phone rings at Peppa's house. It is Monsieur Donkey. He is speaking French. Luckily, Mummy Pig can speak French.
Wow.
He asked if little Delphine Donkey could visit us, says Mummy Pig. Delphine is Peppa's pen pal. Peppa and her family arrive at the railway station.
That's Delphine's train,
says Peppa excitedly. Last stop, all change terminus, to Le Monde descend, shouts Miss Rabbit, the train driver. Delphine gets off the train. Monsieur Donkey gets off too. He is carrying an enormous case.
Hello, Delphine,
Says Peppa.
Bonjour, Peppa,
Says Delphine Doggy. Peppa, bonjour means hello in French, says Mummy Pig. Monsieur Donkey drops the enormous case on the ground. Bonjour, Monsieur Donkey, says Daddy Pig. My goodness, is that huge case Delphine's?
Yes, Delphine has brought a few little things for her visit,
says Monsieur Donkey.
Things you do not have over here. Cheese, bread, tomatoes.
Monsieur Donkey loads the huge case on top of Peppa's car. It is very heavy.
Au revoir, Delphine. I will be back to pick you up tomorrow night,
says Monsieur Donkey.
Au revoir, Papa,
says Delphine. Peppa, au revoir means goodbye in French, explains Mummy Pig.
Wow.
After dinner, it's time to go to bed. Peppa and Delphine want to share a bed. Good night, little ones, says Daddy Pig.
Dormez bien,
whispers Mummy Pig.
Peppa. Dormez bien means sleep well in French.
Peppa and Delphine can't sleep.
I'm not sleepy at all,
says Peppa.
Let's sing a little song to make us sleepy,
says Delphine.
Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonne les matines, ding dang dong, ding dang dong,
sings Delphine. Delphine's French song has sent Peppa and George to sleep. The next day, Delphine visits Peppa's playgroup.
Madame Gazelle, this is my French friend Delphine,
says Peppa.
She sang a French song last night. Can we teach her an English song? How about the ping pong song?
Suggests Danny Dog. Madame Gazelle plays her guitar.
Oh, we're playing a tune and we're singing a song with a bing and a bong and a bing. Bong, bing, boo, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bingly, bongly, boo,
sings Madame Gazelle.
Bong, bing, boo, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bingly, bungly, boo,
sing the children. Delphine has learned lots of new English words. Bing, bong, bingly, bungly, and boo. The end. Peppa Pig, Delphine Donkey. This is Peppa's friend, Delphine Donkey.
Hooray!
Delphine lives in France.
Wow.
Peppa speaks English. Delphine speaks French.
Hello,
says Peppa.
bonjour,
says Delphine. Delphine lives in a city called Paris. Peppa and her family like to go and visit.
Sometimes we travel on a train,
says Peppa.
and sometimes we travel on a boat.
Peppa and Delphine love exploring Paris together. They go to parks, jump in puddles and visit cafes.
Wow.
Would you like a croissant?
Asked Delphine.
Says Peppa. Yes, please.
In the holidays, Delphine comes to stay at Peppa's house. They sleep at each end of Peppa's bunk bed.
I like sharing with you,
says Delphine. Peppa has lots of fun with her friend Delphine. They don't see each other very often. But that makes it extra special when they do.
Hooray!
Peppa loves Delphine Donkey. Everyone loves Delphine Donkey. The end. Peppa Pig, Delphine Donkey. This is Peppa's friend, Delphine Donkey.
Hooray!
Delphine lives in France.
Wow!
Peppa speaks English. Delphine speaks French. Hello, says Peppa. Bonjour, says Delphine. Delphine lives in a city called Paris. Peppa and her family like to go and visit. Sometimes we travel on a train, says Peppa. And sometimes we travel on a boat. Peppa and Delphine love exploring Paris together. They go to parks, jump in puddles and visit cafes.
Wow!
Would you like a croissant? asked Delphine. Says Peppa. Yes, please. In the holidays, Delphine comes to stay at Peppa's house. They sleep at each end of Peppa's bunk bed. I like sharing with you, says Delphine. Peppa has lots of fun with her friend Delphine. They don't see each other very often. But that makes it extra special when they do.
Hooray!
Peppa loves Delphine Donkey. Everyone loves Delphine Donkey. First words with Peppa Pig. Dens. Peppa's many friends came to play in her treehouse. The treehouse is yellow and its door is green. Grandpa Pig made the treehouse for us. It is the best, said Peppa. Peppa made tea for her 5 friends in the treehouse. Don't forget me, said Zoe Zebra. Don't be sad. I have made you some tea in the green cup, said Peppa. Danny Dog and Pedro Pony came to call at the treehouse. Is there room for us in your treehouse? Said Danny Dog. I don't think you will fit. There are 5 friends in here. There are too many friends in here, said Peppa. Grandpa Pig made a den for Danny and Pedro. I like its flag. It is the best, said Pedro Pony. If you pull this bit, its red door goes up and down, said Grandpa Pig. It has so many good bits. It is the best, said Danny Dog. Thank you. Peppa and her friends came to call at the den. Its red door was pulled down.
Wow!
Is there room for us in the den? Said Peppa. I don't think you will fit. There are too many friends in here, said Danny. Grandpa Pig got some string. If you pull the string from the treehouse to the den, you can call your friends, said Grandpa Pig. The friends pulled the string. The treehouse Grandpa Pig made for us is the best. Its door is green, called Susie Sheep. The den that Grandpa Pig made for us is the best. Its door goes up and down if you pull it, called Danny Dog. Peppa's 5 friends went to the den. The den is the best as the door goes up and down, they said. I don't think so. I still think the treehouse is the best. Its door is green, said Peppa. Then the rain came. The den did not have a roof. Many of the friends went back to the treehouse. The treehouse is the best as its roof will keep the rain off, they said.
I don't think so. I still think the den is the best, said Danny Dog. Then the sun came back. The rain had made 5 spots of mud on the green grass. Now we don't want to go in the den or the tree house, said Susie Sheep. The mud is best for us. The end. Peppa Pig International Day. Peppa and her friends are at playgroup. They are dressed up in costumes from lots of different countries. Today is International Day, when we celebrate all the countries of the world, says Madame Gazelle. I'm dressed as Australia, says Wendy Wolf. I'm Japan, says Zoe Zebra. And Richard is Spain. I'm the United Kingdom, says Freddy Fox. I'm America, says Pedro Pony. I'm Switzerland, says Candy Cat.
Meow.
I'm France, says Peppa. And George is Russia. What do all the countries of the world do? Asked Rebecca Rabbit. They sing the Song of Harmony together, says Madame Gazelle.
Wow.
Later we will sing it for your parents.
Hooray!
Hooray! Everyone shouts. The children like singing. Now it is playtime. All the countries are playing in the playground. Play nicely together, calls Madame Gazelle. France and Switzerland are having a lovely time on the swing.
Meow.
Laugh Peppa and Candy. The other countries are having fun too.
Hooray!
Australia and the United Kingdom are on the slide. Japan and South Africa are on the roundabout. Germany and Spain are playing hopscotch.
Wow.
Holland and Mexico are playing with the tire swing. Russia, Greece, Spain and America are playing together in the sandpit. I'm building a big sand castle, says America. Yee-haw! The sandpit is just the right size for 4 countries to play in. Can we play in the sandpit now? asks Japan. We can't all fit in, says America. You can play on the side, says Holland. But we want to play here, says America. Russia, Greece and Spain are upset. Hello, 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 cries the United Kingdom. What's all this noise about then? Everyone tries to explain. France thinks that Holland is being a bit bossy. Holland thinks it's Russia's fault. Leave George alone, he's only little, cries France. Oh dear, the countries of the world are not playing nicely together. That is enough! Is this how you think the countries of the world behave? Demands Madame Gazelle. Don't they? asks France. Of course not, says Madame Gazelle. All the parents have arrived. How is International Day going? asks Mummy Rabbit. Not too bad, says Madame Gazelle. We will now sing for you. Madame Gazelle plays her guitar as all the children sing this Song of Harmony. Peace and harmony in all the world. Peace and harmony in all the world. Peace and harmony in all the world. Peace and harmony. Peppa and her friends love singing together in harmony.
All the countries of the world love singing together in harmony. The end. Peppa Pig gardening. Peppa and George went to visit Grandpa Pig.
Hooray!
It was a warm day. Grandpa Pig was in his garden. Grandpa Pig liked to grow plants in his garden.
What did you bring to show me today?
Said Grandpa Pig.
I have got a small bag and George has got his dinosaur,
Said Peppa.
Those are good things to bring, but wait until I show you these,
said Grandpa Pig. Grandpa Pig had some seeds to show George and Peppa.
Wow!
They will grow from small seeds into big plants,
he said.
Can we try to plant a seed today?
Asked Peppa.
Yes, let me show you how,
said Grandpa Pig.
First, you put a seed in the soil. Much later, the seed will grow into a plant. Then you can cut off the fruit and eat it,
said Grandpa Pig.
The seeds are very small,
said Peppa.
Yes,
said Grandpa Pig.
But the warm sun will help these small seeds grow. Then we can pick the fruit. I want to try,
said Peppa. Grandpa Pig gave Peppa a small seed.
Bring it here, Peppa. Now try to plant it,
said Grandpa Pig. Peppa made a small hole in the soil. She put the seed into the hole.
The warm sun will help the seed to grow, George,
she said. Peppa got a watering can and put some water on the soil.
Will the seed grow into a strawberry plant, Grandpa?
asked Peppa.
Yes, but it will not grow today. It needs the warm sun and lots of water to grow,
said Grandpa Pig. Peppa and George have come back to visit Grandpa Pig.
Hooray!
What did you bring to show me today?
asked Grandpa Pig.
We want to see what you have to show us,
said Peppa.
The seed has grown into a strawberry plant. You can cut off a strawberry and eat it,
said Grandpa Pig.
Pick one and try it,
said Grandpa Pig. Peppa cut off a strawberry. George picked one too.
Yum. Can you grow other fruits from seeds?
asked Peppa.
You can try to grow any sort of fruit plant. Then you can pick the fruit, cut it, and eat it,
said Grandpa Pig. George had a plan. He wanted to try and grow a dinosaur plant today.
No, George, you cannot grow a dinosaur plant,
said Peppa.
He can try,
laughed Grandpa Pig.
But I do not like to eat dinosaurs. I like fruit much better. Dinosaur,
said George. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.